States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Austriato, here. Collins, here. Boyle, here. Lee,
Here.
Yusuf Abramson, here. Owen, Buster. Okay, so we're going to start out tonight with our favorite part of our meetings, is our District 207 Fest. And this month is our parents. So I'm going to hand it over to the principal.
Under the hands of the principals for what has been a cool feature for our parent awards from each of the buildings, and we'll start with Maine East High School. Russell.
Hi, everybody. I am very pleased to introduce Dr. Eric Flood as our outstanding parent of the Maine East this year. Tonight is just a little unique because if you were here 2 years ago, you would have seen the same parental units and a sibling who is not here. Hannah, Abby Flood, had just recently graduated, and Hannah had selected her mom, so we got to talk a lot about mom. And since we've gotten to know these parents very, very well for the past 6 years, what I'm going to do is basically read the letter that Abby wrote nominating, putting her dad's name forth to kind of explain the circumstances. So she writes, any outstanding student would not be who they are without outstanding parents behind them. I've been extremely fortunate to have 2 outstanding parents supporting my sister and me through thick and thin. Since my mom has already been recognized, I think my dad deserves a shot at this award. My parents make each other great and model how to live a successful, academic, and most importantly, service-oriented life. My dad received his doctorate degree when I was a freshman. Throughout the 4 years he was working on it, he would often go spend the summer on campus in Kentucky for intense classes and studying. The family was able to visit a couple of those summers for a week, and I distinctly remember walking through the university side of the campus as my dad asked me, "Do you think you'll want to attend Maine South or Maine East? Even though Hannah is already at East, we'll support you, whatever you decide." Abby goes on to explain, my sister is 2 years older and had been through the process of petitioning to attend East, knowing it had such a beautiful and rich diversity. After hearing about her first year, there was no doubt in my mind that Maine East was where I would go too. But I remember being struck by how my dad intentionally let me make the decision, willing to sacrifice his own time and schedule to make things work. Having our dad work on a degree at the same time my sister and I were in high school was challenging at times, because most evenings he'll be closed up in our tiny basement office working on his dissertation. But he never sacrificed dinner time as a family, and was often, and still is, the one leading discussion. He sincerely wants to know how our day was, what new things we learned in class, and what's challenging us. Whenever I'm struggling with something, feel like a crumble under pressure from stress, he sympathetically asks, "How can we help you right now?" And after going through a doctoral program so recently, he truly understands stress of trying to do homework well after a long day. For 6 years, my dad has faithfully cleared his Saturday mornings every fall to attend high school cross-country meets. He too was a cross-country athlete, and I think he would sometimes get just as excited as I did about my meets. Right away, he made his best effort to learn the names of everyone on the team. Since frequently Maine East parents are unable to attend meets, he lovingly became referred to as Papa Flood. A fitting name as he annually tended to the bonfire at team bonding events in our backyard, cheer for all Maine East runners during the race, was ready to offer up lots of high fives at the finish line. Our whole family enjoys reading, but my dad has done something special since Hannah and I have been in school. He would sometimes simultaneously read the same books that we were reading in class. This past year, he volunteered to be a chaperone for my AP Lit field trip to see a play at Mansfield Park. So he took it upon himself to read all 400+ pages to better understand the play, and the dialogue about the novel with my class and teacher. My dad is a pretty busy guy in my eyes, so I'm still not sure how he found time to get through the 1814 novel by Jane Austen, but indeed, he is one outstanding parent. She closes, more than anything else, my father has encouraged me and countless others to authentically be who we are. He seeks to get to know people on a personal level rather than simply by what they've accomplished. Hannah and I both strove to do our very best in everything we set out to do, and oftentimes we were recognized or awarded for it. Naturally, our parents are proud of us. They never make a big deal about it, and I've come to appreciate them even more for it. My dad has taught me that my value is not in what I've accomplished, but in who I have become in the process. This is evident in the way he lives his life, and I'm honored to be his daughter. I would simply add, both of these people I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know Eric in the last 6 years. They've been present in all elements, extracurricular, academic, very, very active regular attenders on the Principals Advisory Committee, and they have really been a wonderful addition to the fabric of Maine East. And I think from what I see, the apple certainly has not fallen far from the tree. I've gotten to know Abby a little bit better this last year. She's just a wonderful, quiet grace about her. She is way more organized in life than I probably would ever hope to be in several lifetimes, and has been successful in all facets of being a student in terms of her academic prowess, as an athlete, and she's just a really solid human being. I'm pretty confident she is going to do well. I think she's going to have a life devoted to service to making the world a better place for all, and extremely proud of her and thankful for the contribution that her parents have made to her growth and development. So congratulations.
We got really cool awards this year. Our awesome Board Secretary Jenny Edwards found these, so a 207 coffee mug. Thank you so much.
So Ben, Maine South.
Great. This month's outstanding parent from Maine South High School is Miss Andrea Bateman. So if you're at the high school on a Friday, a brisk fall evening, going to a football game or attending a band concert or possibly going to one of the referendum sessions, the info sessions that we held, you would definitely see Mrs. Bateman at any one of those. She's at the school constantly. I see her sometimes even when I'm just going to my car in the North Lot, and she's out helping kids get stuff ready for whatever kind of musical or band practices are going on. So our music teachers, many of whom are here tonight, definitely contributed to much of this, and so our band director, Mr. David Hutter, said, Mrs. Bateman, mother of recent graduate Theodore and rising sophomore Adeline, is following in her parents' footsteps as the Maine South Music Booster president. Her parents were president for multiple years, and now she has held that position for 4 consecutive years and getting ready for her 5th. Mrs. Bateman, with the help of her husband Steve, are present at every event to not only be supportive audience members, but also to serve. They can be regularly seen handing out programs before a performance, representing the boosters at the table at parent night, selling gear at a football game, serving a meal to a group of performers, or getting water for the band. You've got to keep that band hydrated. Mr. Hutter is particularly thankful for Mrs. Bateman because they are the doers that bring all the crazy ideas and requests into fruition. So for example, a few years back, Mr. Hutter had this wild idea that it'd be great to have an ice cream social after marching band's preview show. Just by saying that, without any kind of request, Mrs. Bateman magically organized a team of parents to serve, receive donations for ice cream and toppings, and planned the entire event that hosted 500 plus friends, fans, and family. And as a former high school band director, I certainly can attest to the fact that that is very much appreciated to have a parent who would take that on. The event is now a tradition. She has also been known for seemingly effortless organizing packed meals for all 200 band members, giving meal cards to every kid on the band and choir trip to Disney World, and rallied support for corporate and family donors to purchase additional marching band uniforms. All these projects are beyond her normal duties as a Music Booster president that supports all the music programs at Maine South through private lesson scholarships, senior scholarships, and other outlets. Mr. Nix, our fantastic orchestra director, said Mrs. Bateman is a fantastic parent leader and Maine South alumnus. Her steadfast leadership on the Maine South Music Boosters has created an organization of goodwill for the fine arts program in Maine South that benefits the students in multiple ways. I'm grateful for her commitment to our kids and the Maine South staff. And finally, Theodore, who nominated her, had this to say. Since I could remember, my mother has been helping me in my school with as much as she could. She has continued this into high school and has been part of the music booster since my freshman year. Now it might seem like anyone's mom could do this, or is doing this. However, what sets her apart from everyone else is what she does for the theater department. She has made custom shirts for the lighting crew, made plaques that says the person's name and the theme of the show for each of the productions this year, and even brings food for everyone while we're hard at work perfecting each and every production. Even while doing all of this, the students at Maine South, she has time for her children. She'll make home-cooked meals every day, drives my sister to dance class, and then will come and watch every single one of the productions that's put on. Even at the end of my senior year, she's still going to be doing everything that she has been doing the past 4 years for my sister, who is going to be a sophomore. She likes to do as much as she can to support the arts, seeing this as where she grew up and where her children grew up, and guarantee that it keeps going for years to come. Mrs. Bateman, I certainly could attest to you being at school all the time, helping every program that we have, raising money for everything. And I definitely think when you raise money for the arts, you raise money for a lot of community activism and a lot of ways that we can help grow the educational footprint within the larger framework of our building and certainly in District 207. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your hours and hours of dedication to our students and our school. Really appreciate it.
And our new principal for her first board meeting, Principal Ina McMahon, welcome to the board. Meetings and for Maine West.
Thank you. Well, of all of the responsibilities that I have inherited or am preparing to inherit, I mean, sincerely, this is my favorite. I'd like to recognize Gail Sparrow as one of 207's best in the area. So I'm sharing the quotes and accolades that have been compiled by Dr. Scott and his board up to this point. When we solicited nominees for the 207's Best Outstanding Parent recognition, Gail Sparrow's name came to light. It is our pleasure to honor Gail as Maine West Outstanding Parent. Highlighting Pat Barnett's words, our Fine Arts Department Chair Pat Barnett said, Gail has been an ardent supporter of Maine West for many years. I first met Gail when she was principal of Emmanuel Lutheran School in Des Plaines, and within minutes, I knew I'd found my first community and parent advocate for my work at West. Over the next 10 years, all 3 of her children attended West. Katie, who graduated at 14, Nathan at 16, Ryan recently, 19. Her children were involved in both fine arts and athletics, with her middle child being one of the first male cheerleaders at our school. In her last year as an active parent volunteer, she has served as the president of the Maine West Fine Arts Boosters. Thoughtful, thankful, committed, and dedicated are words that come to mind in describing her leadership contributions to our organization. Her presence is seen at many school events, even when her own children are not involved. Her talents and gifts have helped to revitalize the boosters and help them establish a new mission and vision. I count her as a valued friend and treasured partner in the work of promoting the Maine West Fine Arts Department. I cannot think of a more deserving recipient to be honored as Maine West Parent of the Year. Echoing the sentiments, Jim Schiffer, our choir director, had this to add. It has been a pleasure to have Gail as our Fine Arts Boosters president. Through the years, she has done so much to support our students, consistently going above and beyond the call of duty. We are so grateful to have someone like Gail lead the Booster Board, and we'll miss her very much. And perhaps the most important person in the Fine Arts Department, Joy Clark-Kowski, the department assistant, often worked with Gail, adding, I've been lucky to have been able to see how Mrs. Sparrow has raised her 3 children to be kind, humble, friendly, and hardworking. Mrs. Sparrow's relationship with the Fine Arts Boosters is superb. She has always been there for any type of help that has been needed. Gail was the ideal choice for president of the Boosters in 2018-19. She proved herself to be a strong leader. Her dedication to the needs of all students and the department is remarkable. And maybe the most important voice of all, Gail's son Ryan offers reflections about why his mother deserves this recognition. Ryan wrote, my mom is a truly outstanding person. She has always been there for me and my 2 older siblings throughout our time in high school, supporting whatever we wanted to do. Even though it was tiring at times for her, driving us around and running to different concerts and ceremonies on weekdays and cheerleading competitions on weekends, taking days off from work to travel to auditions and college visits many hours away, and much, much more. She was always there to help us discover what our passions were, what we found interesting, and what we were truly destined to be, all while giving her undying and loving support no matter what we chose. Ryan added, she did all this with the added responsibility and difficult transition from teaching in Des Plaines to teaching preschool children in the mornings, sometimes even staying after her class was finished to help lighten the load of other teachers. I think we can all imagine just how taxing that must be, but she still wakes up every single day with a mission to build people up through even the most difficult periods of life, support her students and her 3 kids in anything and everything that we do. and remind everyone she knows that she loves them. Because if there's one thing my mom has done without question the past 10 years, and really all of her life, it is to treat people the way that she would want to be treated and love people unconditionally. Brian writes about his mom's impact on others. Her overwhelming support of Maine West programs and activities has been amazing to see, even when some of the programs or activities were somewhat undervalued or underrated. I truly feel that this reflects her attitude as a parent, that she is not just a mother to me, my brother, and my sister, but also to every single student at Maine West. Always being there to remind them that no matter if they sell out their shows, make it to the playoffs, win a competition, or gain the recognition they would have liked for the hard work they do, they are truly invaluable and vital parts of the school and should never be treated otherwise. My mom's undying belief and understanding that everyone has a purpose, and that purpose is true and good, reveals how she wants the absolute best for people every single day, not wanting anyone to go into work or school or any other endeavor feeling unloved or unappreciated. That is why my mom is very deserving of being outstanding parent, because she treats everyone the same way that any mother would treat her own children, with undying love and encouragement that they are putting on this earth for a purpose, to do good in whatever they pursue. And even if many people may not know my mom personally, I can tell you firsthand that she is always going to be the parent of a lifetime.
Thank you all for our outstanding parents, and through the words of your children and the parents and the teachers at each school, we know you a little bit better. For those of you who did not know you, and we're very grateful for your being role models and for who you are and the children you have raised and being part of the district. So thank you. So next we have
Next, we have a very,
superintendent's awards.
very special group of people for Superintendent's Award. For this one, I am going to turn the narrative over to Dr. Collins, who's going to recognize a very special group of teachers and students for some very heroic efforts that have happened recently in South High School. So Dr. Collins.
Great. If I could have Rich Klein, Dave and Sarah, Don Lee, Brian Lorenz, Brenda Lynch, Mike McGreevy, and Michael Frazier just line up right here so I can talk about the circumstances of why we're here this evening and why we're honoring you. So about a month ago, we had a student in a PE class whose heart stopped. And as that student was basically making just a regular jog around the track. And when you think about some of these circumstances, and I was reminded of this by the nurse in the emergency room, typically when this happens, the person doesn't make it. She said 90% of the time, it doesn't end in a good outcome. And what happened in this outcome was that the student did make it, and it was because of the people that are standing right here. And I've spoken quite a bit to the family and to the student. He's doing well. And so here's the story, essentially what transpired. So as the student collapsed, the student fell, I would say, in front of probably the most capable staff members we have in the entire school. And when you watch the security footage, you see literally a sprinting Don Lee going across the field house, just because of the nature of the way that the body looked and how everything transpired from running. Instantly taking a pulse and instantly starting CPR compressions immediately. And that happened within seconds. Now, lo and behold, Michael Frazier, a student who happens to be part of the Niles Fire Department's Explore program, was also CPR certified, just happens to be a few yards away. So Michael Frazier also runs over, where I think most students, you can see that they're just not sure what's going on or what's happening. So Michael comes over, instantly down on his knees, ready to be the next person up for CPR compressions. All of that's happening, and while Don is actually running, you see him turn and call out across the field house to Dave and Sarah, who immediately runs over, pulls his cell phone out, and is on the phone with 911. This is all within about 30, 40 seconds. And then Brian Lorenz also a PE teacher, a head baseball coach, is in the field house as well, who immediately comes over, without even thinking, looks over and says, go get the AED. So this is all transpiring very quickly. The AED is brought over, essentially following the directions on the AED with some shocks, and continue to do CPR for about 7 to 8 minutes. And during that time, Brenda Lynch, our amazing nurse, comes down and was also, part of the rescue party, as was Rich Klein, one of our supervisors for buildings and grounds, making sure that the ambulance had direct access right into the gym. Now, the ER nurse, she kept telling me, she's like, this happened within seconds. You literally saved his life. Not me, but these people literally saved his life within seconds. So they kept doing that, and then if you watch the body cam footage from the police, the second the paramedics come in the room, they are on the floor instantly starting CPR compressions too. Long story short, the student arrives at Lutheran General. They do an all-call at the hospital. I actually happened to pull in right when that happened, and I saw all of these doctors running in. I see the parents come in, tears, because the chaplain actually met them at the front door because they weren't sure what was going to happen. And the student made it through. He had surgery the next day. He's doing very well, and he really wants to probably try out for soccer. So parents aren't going to want to do that. I tell people all the time, they say, what are you doing to make sure our kids are safe at school? And I say, have you met the staff we have? They are heroes. And I don't think there would be any moment where any of your kids or any of our kids, that they wouldn't drop what they were doing and do whatever it took to make sure that they were going to survive the next day. And we were able to honor Michael Frazier at graduation when I was basically saying he gave the opportunity for another family to hear their child's name read and walk across the stage. I mean, you get only a few proud moments, especially at the end of the year with everything going on with how crazy our jobs can be. But this was one of the best days, and such a happy outcome. And these are the absolute most amazing people you will ever get a chance to meet, work with. They are literally heroes. So we just want to say thank you so much. And we also have some people here from the American Heart Association, Julie Kersey and Allison Henley, who would also like to make a brief presentation.
Good evening. My name's Allison Henley, and I obviously work for the American Heart Association. I have the privilege to work with the schools in Park Ridge through our service learning programs, and I actually get to work with Maine South through that program. So a really neat opportunity to know this community in advance of this event. But tonight I am honored to recognize some of your true local heroes with the American Heart Association Heart Saver Hero Award. The Heart Saver Hero Award is our way of saying thank you for performing the heroic act of CPR, a critical link, just like you shared in the chain of survival. Today, many Americans feel helpless to act during this emergency because they don't know how to administer CPR or they are afraid of hurting the victim. And we want to recognize all of these amazing local heroes that stepped in to help save a life during this emergency. You have not only helped save a life within your school and local community, but you are also partnering with the American Heart Association to improve the survival rate of citizens who have received bystander CPR. And we are thrilled to know that the outcome of this event was positive for the student involved, and that the CPR and the training and responsiveness of everyone involved played such an important role in this outcome. So congratulations, and thank you all for your amazing work and the effort that you put into being trained in this life-saving skill.
And then I also just wanted to say, Mike McGrady, I failed to mention, he was actually a staff member who actually rode the ambulance. And I remember talking to him when he arrived at the hospital, and I said, how was the ambulance ride? He goes, man, that guy flew. Because it was so critical to get him help so quickly. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
you are heroes among us, and they're very, very grateful, not only for what you did in that moment, but what you do day in and day out in our kids and our community, so thank you. So this is your chance now, for photographs for everyone outside. You can go up, get with your families, with the award, with our heroes here, and you don't have to come back. We are fascinated with our business, and we would love to have you, but this is your chance to come outside. Thanks for being here.
Good, how you doing, Mr. Burnett? I guess you were.
So proud of you. Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
You mentioned something, so I went back on and found it online.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. I mean,
Well, it's very neat to see it all come together as we're at the table. So,
okay, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, it's so great to see Naveen up there.
yeah.
Thank you very much, good job.
Thanks for accepting and being here.
Well,
I didn't know that I'm texting you. Like that random number.
it's like 5 or 6 things.
So there you go. Any public comments? Update from the superintendent.
After that, I don't really have anything to say.
I agree. Really amazing. Update from board members, besides the regular meeting, any updates?
Just like, I went to the Ocean Alliance for Lifelong Learning meeting, and brought back all the notes from the meeting.
Is there any couple of bullets? All right, finance committee meeting, Linda.
Okay, so, we had a lot of agenda items, so I'm going to be brief. Finance committee meeting was held on May 29th. We began at 5 p.m. Members present were myself and Jin Lee. No public comments. We did discuss the bond proceeds manager. Ms. Kalu updated the committee on the decision to recommend the township treasurer as the bond proceeds manager. They came out and gave a presentation the month before. They deliver a high rate of return and have a less costly fee structure, and we recommend it. We also talked about contracts with remunerations greater than $1,000. For the school code, any contract where the district receives cash or goods greater than $1,000, the board must approve. So Maine East and West are requesting to enter into a 5-year agreement with BSN Sports for all of their apparel. Each school is going to receive $5,000 up front to spend on apparel, and they will get an annual rebate between $7,000 and $12,000. The contract is non-binding and can be canceled today. We also discussed the transfer of interest. Annually in June, the district approves a resolution to transfer interest earned on investments from the working cash fund to a fund most in need. This year, $383,100 will be transferred from the working cash fund to operations and maintenance to be used on our building. We also discussed the copy paper bid. There were 2 companies that responded. The district recommends going with Veritiv Paper and using a natural choice paper in the amount of $101,114.50. It was recommended to use the natural choice. It is environmentally friendly, and several other districts have been using it, and they have given favorable responses. We discussed multifunction student activity bus bid. 3 bids were received. The lowest bidder did not meet the required specifications of positive traction. The second lowest bidder was Southern Bus and Mobility. We got buses from them last year, and we are, the district is recommending to award a bid for 3 multifunction student activity buses to Southern Bus and Mobility in the amount of $168,669, which includes we also discussed the addendum to financial advisor contract. In May, the board approved the agreement with PMA for financial advisor services. PMA is requesting an addendum to the agreement to just to include some regulatory language. And we're going to go through that. Maine Township, we also discussed the LED, changing to the LED lighting, the upgrading of that. Explain the need for, actually, we do not, very blue, right? No, they, okay, yeah, sorry. Talked about so much today. They've all explained the need for upgraded lighting in all 3 schools. Lighting will be replaced with some of the athletic areas at all 3 schools. CP Contractors was the lowest bidder from 6 received. Total contract amount $92,016.43. We're also going to get rebates from ComEd if we go this route in the amount of $38,680. Also discuss copier, printer, and courier services. The contract with the district's current provider is going to end July of this year after a 1-year extension. We got 7 proposals. They were reviewed with Impact Networking coming in as the best and the lowest price. The district tech department works with the company to make sure the equipment is matched. Impact Networking is currently being used by 64, District 64, and they're happy. The projected cost of this is going to be $2,669,794.16 over 5 years. The workers' compensation renewal was discussed. Annually, July 1st is the renewal date for our SCRIPS workers' compensation. The allocation increased by 4.51%. We have a self-contained deductible on each claim of $200,000. Claims between $200,000 and $500,000 are covered by this compensation program. This SCRIPS allocation is based on 2 payrolls and claims experience. And the district has been very pleased with the floating claims cost of this. Due to a dedicated claims adjuster. We discussed committee dates and we're going to decide on firm dates at the next meeting. Our last item was the Infinite Campus Online Payments and RevTrak. We're, as y'all know, we're transitioning to a new student information system. We looked at online registration tools, and Infinite Campus is our new ISS program implemented for 1920 school year, and RevTrak is the third-party administrator that will be used for online payments and is compatible with Infinite Campus. The cost is $70,000 to $75,000 for the first year, $29.95 a month service fee, and a 3.49% transaction fee, which we did discuss. That was questions on that, and it turned out that that's lower than our current provider. RevTrak is also used by a number of our surrounding districts, and with success. And training to the covering of RevTrak. Meeting was adjourned at 5:46.
Thank you for your time. Thank you. Buildings and ground, I understand we did not have a quorum, but there was some discussion on construction. Mary, you want to do that?
Yes, so, as is our norm, and this was actually a rather lengthy meeting because it was the first time that we've updated the board on conceptual design since the referendum. And the best way to describe conceptual design is having the spaces be like a giant puzzle piece. So conceptual design is making sure that all of the spaces are now in the right place. And then that allows the architects to go on and start to develop all the details in the spaces. So we had about a 2-hour presentation, and we went school by school and kind of laid out the floor plans and where the spaces are going. And as been our practice, tomorrow morning, we're going to post that information online publicly as our monthly construction update. So a lot of commonalities in terms of, what we saw from the referendum, the visual art spaces, the special ed spaces, the student services spaces. some athletic spaces. So I think one of the things that we realized in the presentation is because as we went to each school over the last several months, more and more spaces were added to the list of items that they would like to see done. So there was a lot more color in terms of the spaces that we're trying to address than we originally envisioned in the referendum. And we know that we may have some tough decisions to make if we cannot find a way to economize our costs. And our goal has always been to do the most amount of space that we can, knowing that our needs are greater than even the funding that we have.
Thank you. And just a reminder, we
Real quick question.
Oh, sure.
You know, I was looking at the numbers and went down from 12 million when we talked 7 million. How did that happen?
So we have a laundry list of items that we know that we'll approve should we not be able to bring the project in line. And I think that the last page of that document should have shown you the laundry list of items. Some of them, I believe at this point, are, science labs were not to be redone.
It's the same
And
stuff, okay.
yeah, it's more of that same type of stuff.
Okay, thanks, that's good then.
And as you know, as we've discussed with Buildings and Ground, and we've discussed here, that we want to be completely transparent and continue to educate the community on all of the developments. So every Tuesday, the next day after each board meeting, each month, there'll be a publication that works the update. So that's a pretty substantive one, we're looking through it. So thank you for that.
We also
Anything else?
have a mailing going out, it should be landing in mailboxes to all community members this week.
That's right.
And it has a reference back to the board. This is for folks who may be on, online looking at things.
But to every household?
Yeah, every household.
Will we be able to allow some geolocation times too, throughout the process?
Yes. Yeah.
And what's the content of that?
It's a general newsletter, so it's got a variety of content, including some instructional content, but there is a section devoted to update on the building process.
Okay.
So, and then also references back to the website, so people will direct them if they want to see the updates, the regular updates.
So that's a regular newsletter, it's not
Just
construction.
It's a regular newsletter, it's not construction specific, and we won't, they're really expensive to mail out, so this is kind of the first one that we've taken a step into the do direct mailings to all of our constituents.
When's the last time you did that?
Well, we did some from the referendum, but prior to that, I'm not sure.
Okay, so we will. So are we looking to be, like,
Trying to do
are
it.
we scheduling it, or we just seeing?
I asked Brett to try to put a schedule together to maybe do it at least semi-annually, if not quarterly.
My possible recommendation is that in order to reach out to maximize the community, informing them the status of, maybe just getting a local newspaper, it's kind of update, nice one page of status of updates so that people can able to take a look at it. So
And-
occasionally.
Yeah, and actually, we have worked and will continue to work with the local newspapers that cover us to do just that, Jim, to maybe make sure that they've got some story updates.
But I know it's been good for people who said, that I said, we will keep you updated, it's
Yeah.
taxpayer dollars, we keep you updated, that every Tuesday of the first Tuesday of the month, that updates out there, we can get content, so that was something that was important, we're doing, so.
The other thing I'd like to say is I just want to commend Mary especially, but also Dave Long. They have done just yeoman's work to this point, getting us on a good path to move forward. And there's a lot more to do over the next 3-4 years, but Mary's just been outstanding.
Thank you. Okay, Mary, monthly status of finances.
In your board packet is the April financial report. The revenues are in line with the state just being a little bit behind, so you can see the percentages trailing previous years. On the expenditure side, while it appears to be low, we can never forget that June we have 6 payrolls, because as our 10-month employees, we have to accrue for all of their payroll because their contracts are complete in this fiscal year. So you'll see that expenditure jump quite heavily in June. But other than that, there are some small variances by fund. The tort fund is one, as we had some higher workers' comp claims, and we but by and large, we are in all funds in aggregate within budget. I will entertain any questions that anybody has on the April financial statements.
Mary, so, for the